Will you take my hand? Will you call our show? Those questions and more pondered right now. It's Tuesday, which means Mission Log is live. I'm John Champion.
And I'm Ken Ray. Showing up to talk about Discovery is what we do. Bringing us questions and comments is what you do, we hope. Here's how you do it. By clicking on the Zoom meeting link from your PC or Mac. That link is right there above and below this video. You can also give us a call, 646-558-8656. That number again, 646-558-8656. Then you type in the meeting code on the screen. You can also use the one-tap phone from your smartphone, or the one-tap from your smartphone, rather, and be connected that way. Remember, those numbers change from week to week. And I know what you're saying. You're saying, well, this is the last week of Discovery. Isn't this the last week of Mission Log Live? No, my friends. But we'll get into that later.
It's true, Ken. Tonight, we have all just watched the season finale of Star Trek Discovery. So we'll try to stay specifically on that while we talk about Will You Take My Hand? But we're not done yet. Oh, no. Next week, we'll be back talking about the first season as a whole. What were the highlights? What were the problems? What did we learn at the end of the day? Then Mission Log Live will take a week off. And when we return, we'll do something else. So join us in early March. Should be the first Tuesday of March, and we'll move to something topical and interview-based and not just Discovery talk. So we hope to see you then, same time, same place, facebook.com/missionlogpod at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern.
Point of clarification really quickly. We're talking about the season as a WHOLE, whole.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Just want to make sure. Hey, before we do the show each week, we post a question for you to mull over. Actually, we posted it the week before because we really want you to mull. The poll question that we asked last week, Emperor Giorgio saves herself or saves the day? I really thought, honestly, John, that it was going to be like a binary choice, right? But
right.
Not unlike Michael Burnham, she found another way. The way the poll came out, though, 71% of people said that she was going to save herself. 29% of people said she was going to save the day. I guess if you count the fact that she didn't blow up Qu'Onos, she kind of saved the day, but I don't think that's how we thought that was going to go.
Okay. All right. So motivation, but as Spock said, there are always possibilities. So then that's where we were. But this week, a whole new question. What we're asking you, hey, did you enjoy your time on Qu'Onos? So right now we have yes at 64%, or no at 36%. Maybe a little point of clarification on that one. You could take that question many ways. You enjoy your time on Qu'Onos. Yeah, maybe go to the Orion Club, maybe eat a little space whale. Could just all be fun and games. Or it could be something culturally that you picked up with Klingons. Could be all kinds of reasons to determine if we liked or didn't like our time on Qu'Onos. How about you, Ken? You like your time on Qu'Onos?
Do you want a serious answer?
You can answer that however you want.
You and I have talked for years about how it's weird that you go to a planet and it always looks exactly the same. It was interesting to go to a part of Qu'Onos that we never suspected existed. And certainly you can say, well, it's made up. So of course we didn't suspect it until somebody wrote it. But for me personally, it was kind of neat to see. But I would imagine there are a bunch of people out there who are Klingon purists who say things like, what's an Orion doing there? And what's an Orion colony doing there? And I could certainly, I'm on both sides of the issue. So I may have to revisit Qu'Onos before I can answer.
Okay, very good. By the way, right now in the Facebook chat, we have Ian saying he's raising a glass of Tranya to us. So it's very kind, very nice. Also saying hi to Chuck and to Chris Riker and Julian and Joy and everybody who's joining us tonight. Now, keep in mind that if you're a returning visitor, we sure are glad to have you here with us again. If you're new to Mission Log Live, welcome. Just a quick note about how all of this works. You get to tune in every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, if you'd like to be a part of the show. And now, if you're on Facebook, you can do that in the chat or by clicking the link to call in. It's all happening at facebook.com/missionlogpod or at youtube.com/Roddenberry prod. I know that I have a Roddenberry prod. Do you have a Roddenberry prod? Now, let's say that you were busy on a Tuesday night. Let's say you need Mission Log to meet you halfway. Well, we can do that too. Come back and pick up the video whenever you like, or you can also get the handy portable easily digestible, audio-only version just by going to podcast.roddenberry.com or by searching for Mission Log Live wherever fine podcasts are found. Now, that feed is updated usually just a few hours after the live show ends. And if you're watching live on Facebook with us right now, hit like, hit share. Sharing is caring.
So before we get into this week's recap, we would like to remind you about our shop, which we have a much easier address for you to remember now. This is going to be so super simple. missionlogpodcast.com. Maybe it's a site you've heard of. I'm not sure. But you go there and you click on shop and you can find all kinds of cool stuff. Stuff like this. No, not my Kindle, but yes, that sticker that's on the Kindle. I realized, John, as I was listening back to the audio podcast, we're really not good visual storytellers.
No, we're not really.
So I'm doing things like, hey, look at that, you know, which is great for the people who are here for the video. But what we've got is we got a guy named Carl who does just some amazing graphics work. And he's put together a bunch of different products for us. And then, of course, there are some of the old shirts that we have as well. So when you go to missionlogpodcast.com and click the shop link, you'll be taken straight to the place. It's got a bunch of T-shirts with really cool logos, harkening back to some of the inside jokes on Mission Log. Some are next gen, some are TOS. Who knows what's coming down the pike? Although I do know we have a lot of stuff that Carl is working on. So check that stuff out. Like, what are some of the? I'm missing some. I know, John. What are some of the designs that we have?
Yeah, well, I say everybody should have a Carl. They really should, because Carl just cranks out fun stuff. We have Bonk Bonk on the head since 1966. It's a little you see Timmy moment. You probably heard us mention that many times before on the show. We have Nova Squadron, the ill-fated Nova Squadron. So make sure you honor them by wearing their logo. We have the Ditaux Mining Corporation that you pointed out with the old favorites like Cool as Kirk, and of course, really the one that started them all, Ethos Pathos Logos.
Yeah.
Kirk, Spock, and McCoy on the transporter pad. That looks good as a shirt, looks good as a sticker. I like them all.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, we talk a lot about the T-shirts, but it's journals, it's tapestries, it's stickers, it's all kind of stuff. So you buy something there, you kick a couple of bucks our way, you kick a couple of bucks Carl's way, and you've got shirts that you're really just not going to find anyplace else. The place to do that is missionlogpodcast.com. The good thing is operators are standing by, so you don't even have to talk to anybody.
Right. Yeah, just click on the shop link and you're good to go. Yeah. So, hey, in just a moment, everybody, we'll open up the lines for comments and questions. And now what we could do, Ken, normally I would just immediately say, Ken, do the recap. And then you would be like, yes, I'm here to do the recap of Will You Take My Hand? But this is live. And when you're live, anything can happen. You don't know. This coffee cup, I could have water in it. I could have coffee in it. I got something else.
I heard you guys were looking for a Roddenberry prod, so I figured I'd drop in.
We also have guests that drop in. And interestingly, he can talk, but he can't hear you or anybody else.
Because I don't have headphones.
Because you don't have headphones. But there he is. There's Rod.
Yeah, I have nothing of value to contribute. I am just here to prod things on.
See, this is a callback.
Yes. So everyone, I hope you've got great questions tonight. Of course, I'm watching every night on the Mission Log account. I'm always there giving my thumbs up. I love
sometimes.
Well, yeah. I mean, thumbs up when it's good, but
okay.
Often thumbs down. Anyhow, you guys have been great. Everyone who's participated in this, I want to thank you for coming here and checking out Mission Log Live and making it a success. I hope you've enjoyed Discovery. Keep up the good questions. You guys are asking some really good, thought-provoking stuff. And as we step back from season 1, especially in the next episode of Mission Log Live, I'm hoping that we can all really sort of dig into the meat of this and kind of look at it as a whole and say, what was this series about? What were the pros? What were the cons? What do we want for season 2? All those sorts of things. So thank you again. I don't want to take up any more time. I love you all. I'm going to actually be like right off
right
camera,
there.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, every now and then you might just see
like that.
But that's about it. Yeah, every now and then I'll just do that.
All right.
Okay.
Don't screw up. Don't screw up. Don't screw up. Don't screw up. All right, Ken, will you take my hand? Will you honor us with the recap, please?
I've been Roddenberry prodded.
Here in front of everybody.
I know. Klingons of many houses are headed to Earth to lay waste to it, while the Discovery is headed to Qu'Onos. Their stated plan is more benign. jump Discovery into some caves on the Klingon homeworld, use drones to map it out, pick some choice targets, and eventually take the fight to the Klingons. But Discovery's new captain, the Terran Emperor Georgiou, pretending to be the less Terran Georgiou, is setting off alarms for Saru and Burnham. Burnham's pretty convinced that Georgiou is the only one aboard who knows the real plan. Another thing they don't know is exactly where on Qu'Onos they should land. So Georgiou beats the Klingon captive L'Rell senseless to find out. When that doesn't work, Burnham suggests they talk nicely to Ash Tyler about where to go. He can access Vogue's memories, and he is willing to help. He suggests they land in an area of Qu'Onos inhabited by Orions, land that was given to them a long time ago. So Georgiou picks her landing party. It'll be her, Burnham, Ash Tyler, and Tilly, for old time's sake. Times with Captain Killy, of course. Discovery jumps into Qu'Onos, and the 4-member away team, dressed as low-life traders, heads to the Orion outpost. For a terrible place, it's not a bad place. Food vendors, clubs, full of gambling and other forms of entertainment. The mission now, find out how to get to the best place to release the drones. They know it's an old shrine, but they don't know where it is. Georgiou has a little 1-on-2 adult time and gets her answer. Tyler goes full Klingon, gambling with real Klingons to get info, though he gets nothing. It does freak Burnham out, though, and she takes off. When he catches up with her, she tells the story of her parents' death, how they were killed while she hid in the room. Killed by Klingons. Her dad quickly, her mother slowly. Then they sat at her table, ate her food, talking and laughing, so yeah, Tyler talking and laughing with the Klingons might have been a bit of a trigger. And yet, Qu'Onos is just a planet full of people. Maybe not people like she knows, not living lives like she lives, but this is home with people living their lives. And what they're about to do will change it forever. Only she doesn't know the half of it. Checking in on Tilly, she's gotten stoned. Blame it on the old wrinkly Baylock-looking Orion for that. He tried to steal the case with the drone while she was passed out, but whoops, when she opens it, in the case is not a drone. It is a seriously serious amount of serious explosives, detonated in an active volcano system, like the one on which the Orion settlement sits. It could start a chain reaction that would leave Qu'Onos a dead planet within weeks. And Georgiou just stole it from Tilly and planted the explosives. Getting Saru up to speed, he says they should contact Starfleet. But Burnham thinks Starfleet knows that Georgiou is following Starfleet's orders. A quick call to Admiral Cornwell, and Burnham's suspicion is confirmed. Cornwell says this is war. They don't have the luxury of principle, though Burnham counters that principle is all they have. And she and the crew of the Discovery will not be part of genocide. Change of plans. Georgiou can still have her freedom, but she needs to turn over the detonator. That will be given to L'Rell. Starfleet could destroy her world. Instead, Starfleet will give L'Rell the power to save her world and everything else. Instead of 24 houses tearing Earth, known space, and the Klingon Empire apart, she can unite the houses. And as Vok and T'Kuvma before him had intended. And Ash Tyler will stay with her. There's really no place for him in the Federation. He and Burnham say their goodbyes, and L'Rell calls back the 24 houses, stopping the attack on Earth. The war is over. Back at Starfleet, the crew of the Discovery is honored for its part in the war, in ending the war, and Michael Burnham regains her rank as commander. She makes a rousing speech about not trying to be better by being worse first, about ends not justifying the means. The only way to defeat fear, she says, is to tell it no. On their way to Vulcan, Discovery receives a distress call. NCC 1701? The Enterprise. Hey, that's Pike's ship, isn't it? Maybe we'll find out next season.
Nicely done, Ken. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Remember, everybody, if you want to join us, you can do exactly that by clicking on the link for the Zoom meeting, or you can give us a call with the numbers that are in the comments right above and right below where you're looking at it on Facebook. And we do have a caller standing by on video right now. We have Jason. Jason, are you there, sir?
I am here. Can you hear me okay?
There you are, Jason. Maybe lean it a little closer to your mic. We can hear you, okay. But there you go. Oh, good. You're wearing the mission log uniform. You have the jacket. You have the pin.
Yeah, you hear that? Yeah, you see that? Yeah, good.
Yeah. Oh, you have a whole display behind you there. You got the oh man.
A little
Can we
bit.
come to your place and hang?
Got the Shinzu here.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
oh, nice.
So great to talk to you guys, because I've been a long time listener and I love everything that you guys do. So it's too bad the boss can't hear me right now.
Because, I'll relay a message for you. He's done his good job.
Yes. So. I mean, I struggled with, what to say about this episode, but I mean, it really has everything. I mean, you're learning more about Burnham's guilt for what she feels like her part was in her parents' death, and, her hatred of the Klingons. You have, and this is where Mary Wiseman really stole the show with Tilly. I mean, her humor was just absolutely on point. The humor with Saru, with his simply palatable line, was just out of this world. And of course, you had Baylock. You had Clint Howard, which was just awesome. And everybody was pointing out, of course, that you could see Tranya, sitting there on the table there. You had multi-vector urinating, which is just fabulous. You had fried SETI eels. You had a Romulan tent on Qu'Onos, which I definitely want to know more about. And then you had a Trill getting a tattoo. So I mean, you just had everything. But my main question really comes down to this: what did you guys think about Tyler's decision to go with L'Rell? What did you think about her or his? I don't know. It was surprising to me. I feel like it was surprising to me that that he, with the acceptance of the Discovery crew and with what I guess maybe it's his struggle with, the relationship with Burnham, but were you all surprised by that?
Ken?
I know I liked it. I can't say exactly why I liked it, except I think if they had kept him around with the Federation crew or the Starfleet crew, there would have always been the question of Manchurian Candidate, right? Is he one day going to flip? Is he one day going to turn? Is he one day just going to be evil? I like the fact that his decision about that seemed considered, because I mean, the thing is, when he was fighting with himself about whether or not he was going to be Vok or going to be Ash Tyler, right? He didn't really have a memory of who L'Rell was or what it was that they were trying to do. Once that was broken, he does have that memory. And so I do like the fact that the character seemed to really think about what it is he wanted to do. He's not running from having been a Klingon anymore. He's not running to Michael Burnham. He's actually looking at his place and everything and then trying to figure out, okay, what's going to be the best thing for me? I don't know that I agree that he's not good for anything, which I think he said, but I do agree that he might actually be, if he can be a moderating force with L'Rell, a good sounding board for her, then, I mean, what's weird is we're talking about this as if we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we know there's going to be a war. We know the war is going to end. We know eventually we end up with a tenuous peace for the Klingons. And yet I find, especially with that character and his decision, I find myself thinking, wow, I wonder how that's going to go. So that was me personally. What about you, John?
By the way, well, before I get to that, I just have to mention that Mark in the Facebook chat says multi-vector urination is the new band name. So yeah,
it's my Nine Inch Nails cover band, actually.
That's good. That's good. So I agree with you, Ken, that I like that that's the direction that they took. Would have been entirely too easy for them to end with Michael Burnham rejecting Ash and saying, no, you're on your own. And then for them to get back together, it would have been a little too sappy, a little too cheesy. I like that she had a moment in this episode to say, yeah, look, it would be really easy if I hated you. But
yeah.
So you understand that the emotions are real. And that's something that I really like about this show and like about Discovery overall, is that for most of these characters, when they hit an emotion or when they hit a motivation that's driven by emotion, it's never just one thing, that they are playing the multiple facets of those moments. So I really appreciate that. Now, the other thing that I like about Ash/Voq going with L'Rell is that it's kind of a parallel to the speech that we saw Michael Burnham give, well, not a speech, but the little line that she gave while they're on Qu'Onos, saying, these are just people going about their lives. Right. This is not a war. These are actual people that we should and could be able to empathize with. So what you just said, Ken, about Ash being a moderating force on L'Rell, he might be the one who can say, look, if we have a bone to pick with the Federation, it's about an institution, it's about politics, it's not about people. So maybe, just maybe, the way that Burnham was able to humanize the enemy, quote unquote, the enemy here, maybe, just maybe, Ash is able to humanize the Federation to whatever that new power structure is on Qu'Onos.
Yeah, not to be that guy, but I think it would actually be, he would be Klingonizing the Federation.
Sure. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Good point.
Jason, I do want to ask you and Ken as well here. Good idea or bad idea to hand the Doomsday weapon over to L'Rell?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, the common theme, I think, through the entire episode was cages to me. It was, you know, obviously Georgiou was in her cage, you know, because she couldn't be let out until they found an actual purpose for her. So, and then she was let out of her cage. Then she walked out, you know, because she chose, I guess, the better action, which was to give up the detonator, you know, and then L'Rell, you know, she's let out of her cage because she has a purpose. And I think it was surprising, you know, the direction they took, that the Klingons would actually follow her. But of course, she has her hand on the detonator. So, yeah, I mean, it's tenuous at best. You know, it obviously thwarted plans for Earth destruction at this time. But it'll be interesting to see how it plays out for sure. You know, good idea. It was the best idea they could come up with. And like you said, John, you took the words right out of my mouth. That, you know, Spock always said there are always possibilities, and the theme was there's always another way. There's another way, and you know, Burnham said that several times, and this was the other way, and you know, better perhaps than leaving it in the hands of Georgiou, I suppose.
Ken, what about you?
Well, I think also better than leaving it in the hands of the Federation. I mean, the Klingons are going to have to choose at this point how they're going to be, right? There would be no choice for them if Burnham said, we've got this and we could always do this. Well, at that point, I mean, that's just asking the Klingons to attack again, but just make sure you kill us the first time next time. I mean, by handing the power back to L'Rell, I mean, she's giving her the power to do what she always wanted to do with the Klingons, but then she's putting the fate of the Klingons back in the hands of the Klingons. I mean, I like the fact that she says, this is where we crushed you. I mean, so she can go ahead and draw the whole thing out and know, okay, if I don't play along, this ends poorly. And I like the fact that then she went ahead and turned that back over to them to let them chart their own course, if you will.
Right.
Yeah. I have to say that I like the Star Trekness of that. I like the Star Trekness of coming up with a solution that wasn't the obvious solution. It is a little TOS in the respect that it's sort of like Kirk showing up somewhere and saying, well, I'm going to change the power structure. I got to wash my hands of it and I'll see you later. Good luck. Yeah. I'm not crazy about kind of the mechanics of this episode, like just how we get from point A to point B, and here's a device and we hand the device over and see ya. But I like the thematic exploration of this episode. To you, Jason, it was about the cages and escaping those cages. I liked the ability of this episode to show us possibilities, kind of, Ken, like you and I have talked about with the Picard thing. You negotiate, and then if you fail, you negotiate again, and if you fail, you negotiate again. And Michael Burnham was that voice for this episode to say, if it looks like a failure around this corner, if it looks like a failure around this corner, the biggest failure being that we violate our own principles, we will find another way to not do that. So all those messages I really appreciated, even if every single plot point I wasn't on board with. And that might have been the biggest plot point that I wasn't on board with. It was just the literal thing of here handing the detonator over to the Rel.
Right.
But Ken, as you pointed out, maybe then it's a good thing that Ash stayed behind. I asked myself the poll question we had a few weeks ago: have we seen the last of Ash Tyler? I don't think that we have.
Well, I think it's more likely that we're going to see Giorgio than we're going to see Ash Tyler again. But yeah, it's hard to imagine.
I could get down with that show.
The only one it feels safe right now to say that we've seen the last of is Lorca, but of course we still haven't seen a body for the Prime Universe Lorca, so we don't really know.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's a spinoff show right now, The Adventures of Emperor Giorgio.
Okay.
Jason, thank you for joining us tonight. Anything else?
Just one quick thing. I had my tiny Clint Howard with me tonight.
Oh, nice.
Oh, man.
There's little Baylock right there. I don't think he does have a glass of Tranya in his hand. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes.
But,
yeah.
And then one other thing, I want to raise a glass, my 10 forward glass, to you guys. Thank you so much for everything you do.
Oh, hey, right back at you, Jason. Thank you so much. Still not going to tell you what's in here, but thank you. All right, fellas.
Thanks.
Jason, until next time, buddy.
Thanks a lot, Jason.
All right.
Oh, we should remind people how to get in touch with us, shouldn't we? And then I know we have another caller lined up.
Yeah, let's do that.
Which should we do first?
Let's remind people. How about that?
Okay. Yeah, I'm vamping because I have to find it. There it is. The way to get in touch with this is by clicking on the Zoom meeting link on your PC or Mac. Somewhere up there and somewhere down there, there's a link. And you click on that, and that'll get you most of the way here. You can also give us a call, 646-558-8656. That number again, 646-558-8656. Then type in the meeting code on the screen. You can also use the one-tap form from your smartphone and be connected that way. And we'd be just so happy if you did that. We'd be so happy. Like we're like how happy we are, for example, that Ari is joining us. Good evening, sir.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Doing all right. What's on your mind tonight?
I just want to ask you guys a quick question and a comment. Grilled Seti eel, anyone? I thought that was a great shout out.
It was wonderful, except whatever. Yes, it was fantastic. I immediately thought of my shirt. I will say I meant to ask Jason how big his TV is. I didn't notice that was a Trill getting tattooed, and he mentioned like 3 other things that he saw. And I'm like, wait a minute, where was that? Yeah. The SETI Alpha 5 eel I did.
Well, I kind of saw it out of the corner of my eye, and so I had to kind of I had it recorded, so I had to rewind, go back, and like, did I really see that? I think I saw that.
Yeah,
anyway,
I liked I liked that the tattoo the Trill was getting though you saw in the later shot she gets up and it's sort of like glowing. That was sharp. It was a space tattoo.
The space tattoo. It was absolutely to go with the space drinks and the space SETI eel, everything.
Yeah.
So that was my quick question. I wanted to say I really liked how the crew reined in the ideals of the Federation at the end of the episode, and this was amazing because they did that. It wasn't the captain. It wasn't the admiral. The admiral was ready to blow up the entire planet, which is, of course, par for the course for admirals throughout the entire TOS, TNG, everything. But it was the collective of the crew, and I thought that was so great. That was true Star Trek to me.
I can't disagree with you there. I mean, I loved that. And like I said, it's one of those things about this episode that I love the messaging. I love the theming, even if to me the plot was almost secondary. It was all about getting to that point where the last 10 to 15 minutes was the speechifying. And it was one of those, I was in a room full of people. I wanted to stand up and give the applause, because it was edited nicely. It was dramatic. It was sort of what we were all waiting for to come out of this show.
I think so, because it felt like the whole season was like you're looking at a diamond and you can't quite see it because it's stuck in some mud, and you're starting to wash it off, and it gets a bit of more mud back on it, and all that kind of stuff, and you go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it was really nice to just pull it out, clean it off, see, okay, yes, this is true idealistic Star Trek, and it comes from the crew, like they're writing their own mission statement for Star Trek. I thought it was pretty cool.
I wondered though about Cornwell. Is she a badmiral, as they say in the tradition of Star
Aren't they
Trek?
always going to be badmirals?
Well, because here's the thing: she made this horrible decision, but then she's there at the end with all the medals on her uniform, and don't get me wrong, I think she's an awesome character, and I hope we get to see more of her. But she was the one about to pull the trigger on this
absolutely
terrible plan.
Yeah, and I think that it's always tough to see those admirals making those decisions, because it's like they're making the hard decisions for everybody, but the idealism isn't there, and they're saying, "Oh, it's war, it's war, it's war, it's war." Okay, but you're sacrificing all your moral fibers, everything that you stand for as the United Federation, to make this justification that it's just war. So yeah, I don't know. I think she has good in her, but I think she was backed into a corner. It's like she has to be the bad guy in this because there's no more Lorca. And even the Klingons at this point almost don't seem to be bad. Sorry.
This is great.
He's speaking up for Star Trek. And it seems like even in this episode, the Klingons aren't really the enemy. It's like, what is the enemy? The enemy is poor morals, poor choices. That's kind of how it felt to me.
The enemy is a cat that hasn't been fed, and it will take you down in the middle of a show
so many times. Sorry.
No problem at all. We had Annie's Cats, I think, is another band name. Annie's Cats.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't know why I remember that it was Annie, but yeah, Annie's Cats.
You guys want a cat? I have 2 cats. I can donate 2 cats. I'm keeping my
Ari, there's no shortage of cats, so really I think we're all good, whether we have one or not. I think.
Well, apparently there's a puppy problem in Star Trek for sure. They just come and go. But the cats, Spot anyway.
Don't even get it started. Yeah.
Sorry.
Did your cat spontaneously change sex like Spot?
No, I think he just loses his mind. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. I know. Sometimes I wish he was another kind of animal. Anyways, I wanted to say you guys have been doing such a fantastic job. I started listening to the podcast. I think it was about 2 years after you guys started. So I think the last 4 years of my life have been just, every week with you guys, and just amazing job that you guys do, and thank you to you guys, to Rod, to everything and all the people that run this thing behind the scenes. Amazing.
You're looking at them. Right here, these 2 guys.
That's it.
No, thank you, man.
Thank you. Yeah,
thank you.
It's great.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ari. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Keep up the good work, and thank you for letting me ask a couple things and pointing out something. So that was good.
Awesome, man. Till next time, Ari.
Until next time.
Prosper, buddy.
Hey, live long and prosper.
All right.
We have business that we need to do, Mr. Champion. Before we do that, though, I want to remind people, and I haven't checked the poll lately, so I don't know what the new numbers are. But the question that we put out to people: did you enjoy your time on Qu'Onos? Did you? You go to the thing and you do the thing and answer the question, because we're planning a trip and we can't decide. So your vote really does count at this point. Hey, we have props, and as the whole thing I said earlier about not being good visual storytellers, I think we have to be sure to tell people who are listening what it is that we have here. I actually can't see what you're doing, John. Do you have?
I think I might.
Okay.
You ready? Dun, 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 dun.
While he's doing that, I will tell you that what you're looking at is the Shenzhou from the Discovery Starships collection from our good friends at Eagle Moss. Of course, I mean, we've seen the last episode, right, for the first season, but that doesn't mean you're done looking at pretty little starships. Oh, no. I'm sorry. Did I say little? I meant pretty big starships, because yes, of course, you can get the Shenzhou heading your way. On the Federation side, actually, it's not just the Shenzhou. That's what you're going to start with. But you've also got the Discovery on the way, the Kerala, the Jaeger, the Europa. Then flying in from Klingon space, you've got ships like the reimagined Klingon Bird of Prey and the Kach class destroyer. And now I'm going to play with my Shinzo, John, while you tell
Yeah.
people.
So, all right, what you'll see when you visit eaglemoss.com/discovery starships are renderings that serve as the basis for the diecast models themselves. They are painstakingly reproduced. When I say renderings, I mean those come from the actual VFX files used on the show. So these are as accurate as you can get. And they are created under the supervision of Star Trek expert Ben Robinson. So what we're talking about here is a collection that is officially authorized by CBS Studios. They're about 8 to 10 inches long, depending on the ship, from bow to stern. They are hand painted, and I'm here to tell you, and Ken, I'm sure you're holding it up for everybody to see there, that they are rich in detail. They are absolutely stunning to look at. Each one comes with an amazing magazine, which I'm holding here in my hands, and it's full of real world and in-universe information. And each comes with a display stand suitable for displaying your ships.
Now, what's amazing is that ship that we just showed you can be yours for just a crazy low price. And for people, I know I say show and some people are listening, but go to that website that we were talking about, or the one that we'll tell you about in a moment. You'll be able to see exactly what we're talking about. But the Shinzo can be yours for only $9.95 with free shipping when you sign up for a subscription. Now, additional models, including the Discovery, will ship monthly for the special subscribers price of $44.95. That's 20% off the standard retail price. And that also comes with free shipping.
Yeah. So now people who want to pick and choose their ships can do that. For that, you would go to shop.eaglemoss.com or check your local comic book shop. You'll pay about $10 more there. But look, honestly, saving money isn't the only reason to subscribe. Subscribers get free gifts worth over $100 during their subscription. And of course, you can cancel your subscription at any time.
So to subscribe, it is eaglemoss.com/discovery starships. To buy individually, it is shop.eaglemoss.com. And we would like to thank Eagle Moss for sponsoring this week's show and all the shows that we've done as part of the whole Mission Log Live thing, right?
Yeah, that's pretty rad, right? Thank you. Thank you,
guys. That is pretty cool of them.
Yeah.
Can I sort of respond to something that Ari said a moment ago?
Absolutely.
And I didn't want to be argumentative because here's the thing. I love Giorgio's speech. I'm not Giorgio's. I'm sorry. I love Burnham's speech.
So what part of Giorgio's speech you loved?
Yeah, right. We can talk about that off mic. No, so the parts of Burnham's speech that I loved, obviously the ones where she says, we don't cut corners. The way to defeat fear is to say no. Mm-hmm. I loved all of that. And yes, I loved the fact that a group of people stood up in the face of a bigger group of people doing something wrong. I'm still bothered that Starfleet was willing to commit genocide. And it's not like I ever thought that our characters weren't going to end up being good characters, but I'm kind of bothered that we had to get down to this organization, this United Federation of Planets, was going to cut that corner. And yes, it's great that we get the speech. It's fantastic that we get the speech, but I wish the speech had not been aimed at the Federation. I wish we hadn't had to save ourselves in a way.
I feel you. I mean, it kind of goes back to, look, Captain Kirk himself was the one who said, let them die when the Klingons almost all died out. And he had to get that reset through experience. He had to get that reset as to what he was actually supposed to do and the person he was supposed to be. So right. This kind of story isn't totally out of the ordinary for Star Trek, and it isn't totally out of the ordinary for the characters that we want to follow and want to be our heroes. But I get it. Look, it took us 15 episodes to get to that speech, and that speech had to be given to a higher up who should have known better.
Right. I mean, you say that Kirk had to get that reset. He had to get that reset from one of his friends and from Starfleet, from the Federation. Mm-hmm. He's not the one who had to go and say, no, Federation, you're doing it all wrong. The Federation had to go, dude, seriously, come join us in today, because you're stuck in sort of an outmoded bit of thought.
Yeah.
Which strikes me as one of the big differences there. Which is not to say I don't love her speech, because I absolutely do love her speech. And I'm glad after 15 episodes we got it.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. Well, I tell you what, let's find out what Matthew has to say. Matthew has been waiting patiently on the phone here. So, Matthew, are you there? And would you like to chime in?
I'm here. Good to talk with you again, gentlemen.
Hey, excellent. Welcome back to the show.
I want to say first, it's great that Discovery wasn't the disaster that several internet reports had said going into it.
Yes.
Yes.
You're absolutely right about that.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a show that maybe you didn't care for, but, it was well done, well produced, well written, all that stuff. So that was good. How great would it be for season 2 if it starts out with them sailing off away from the Enterprise going, wow, that was crazy. Hey, Sinclair, thanks to Captain Pike.
So you don't want to see another retelling of the Enterprise?
I don't know. That would probably not go over too well. But if they do go aboard the Enterprise, it's a shame the Star Trek Continues sets are in Georgia and they shoot Discovery up in Toronto.
Okay, but there's another bridge of the Enterprise, and where is it?
New York, Ticonderoga.
Ticonderoga or Saratoga? I couldn't remember which.
Ticonderoga, yeah, that's
James
Collins
places
there, yeah.
Which is not terribly far from Toronto. It's certainly much closer than Georgia. Can I ask? So you don't want to go aboard the Enterprise? Is that correct?
No, that would have been the quickest way to upset every fan possible.
I will tell you honestly, I have always felt shortchanged by how little Pike we ended up getting. I did not like all of the callbacks all of the times, but if we end up meeting Pike, I don't want to meet another Spock because we've seen plenty of those at this point. I really have no interest in meeting another Kirk, but it wouldn't bother me to have more than we've only had, if you counted J.J. Abrams movies, we've only had 3, maybe 4 stories with Pike if you also count Menagerie. It wouldn't bother me to get a little Pike in there.
How about actually somebody just beat me to it on the chat. Somebody says, how about Bruce Greenwood? And we got shortchanged of Bruce Greenwood in the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies. He was a great Pike.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We only got 4. Also, there is the possibility of number 1 with
that'd be nice to see
the old Major character. But I don't know.
Now, for season 2, my main question was going to be: do you guys want to see like another season-long story arc, or would you rather see like sort of Enterprise season 4, where they did like several 3-episode season arcs or three episode story arcs?
Oh, I want Next Gen back. I'm sorry. But I want TOS. I want the Orville. I mean, yes, I know people are excited that, at the end of the 15 episode arc, we got the bonk bonk on the head. The reason we have bonk bonk on the head as a t-shirt and as a thing that we say on our show is because you used to get that every week. And I would like 15 uplifting stories, or even if you're gonna do what you're saying, I'd like 5 uplifting stories as opposed to one story that ends up being okay for everybody.
I think that they proved that they can do it on Disco. You had a particular standout was the Harry Mudd episode, Magic to Make the Sanest Man Go Mad, where it was just fun. You did land with something where you had the crew come together in that last moment, and that was cool to see because they hadn't been that way up until that point. Not only, Matthew, do I like season 4 of Enterprise, where you had a lot of mini arcs, some 2 and 3 episode length stories, but I actually really like season 3. That was a bit of an experiment with them where they did the season long story of the battle with the Xindi, but they threw in all these other episodes that could be standalone, but you just get a little nugget of the story that would feed into the overall arc. So I think it can be done either way. I think maybe what we're asking for here is a little change in tone, but I also like the sophistication of the storytelling in Discovery, where character choices and there are consequences to those choices, to what happens along the way. So I really like seeing that in Discovery in a way that we have not seen before in most of Star Trek. So I hope that they can maintain that. But look, I think I'm getting into the subject matter that we'll get into next week, where it's our season wrap up and then kind of our hopes and expectations for the next week. So we'll continue this next week, shall we?
All right. And then one last question. Since we know Roddenberry, who's one of the executive producers on Discovery, can we put in a good word to try and get Tracy Lee Coco a line finally?
Oh, you know what? Yeah, it's
an interesting idea.
Yeah, Rod, you think we can get Tracy Lee Coco a line somewhere in the new Star Trek? Lieutenant Junior J from Star Trek The Next Generation. She never had a line. After 8 years, more than that, movies, TV, I think maybe she should get a line.
Maybe her mother.
Her mother or grandmother would be, yeah. Okay, we're working on it. We're working on it. Yeah. All right. Good call, Matthew.
All right. Well, wonderful job on season 1, and looking forward to season 2.
All right.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait to. I look forward to hearing when we get to see season 2, and then I look forward to watching it as well. Matthew, thank you very much for calling in tonight. We do appreciate it.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Should we do the thing again where we remind people, or should we just jump to the next caller?
Let's do a quick reminder. Click the link. The Zoom link, it's right there on the screen, or call the number 646-558-8656 and then put in the meeting code. And now we go to our next caller, Cosmo.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
We sure can.
It's Livingston Picard.
It is. How are you?
Okay. Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. And this is James over here.
Hey, James.
In his blue shirt.
Yeah, he's all decked out and ready for well, I don't want to say battle. I don't want to say action.
Go feeding the whales. He's a blue shirt. He's feeding the whales and the dolphins.
Ready for
so I got to agree with Ken twice tonight. Something wasn't sitting right with me about Burnham's speech. All season long, we've all been wondering how the Trekness of this series. And we got the boink boink on the head at the end, but something wasn't sitting right with me. And I think Ken nailed it on the head that Starfleet came to that decision to do genocide really easy. They just took Giorgio's word, and Sarek and Cornwell made the decision, or the rest. We don't know what the rest of Starfleet comprised of at that point, but that didn't sit well with me, and I'd expect a little bit better out of Sarek, and the fact that it took Burnham to stand up to it.
Remember, though, it was actually Sarek who gave us the Vulcan hello.
That's true.
He originally was the one who said the way you beat the Klingons is to beat them mercilessly.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like the Sean Connery speech from The Untouchables. You bring a knife, you bring a gun, right?
Right.
I will. Yeah. I can hear you as well.
And then now I've already lost my train of thought. Ken, what you said about the uplift, less of a giant arc, and I think Deep Space Nine really hit it out of the park with that. And I mean, there was the big 4-season long Dominion War, but there were plenty of individual episodes in there that stand alone that were really fantastic. And so I'm hoping that we get more than we did this season. And thinking into the future, I'd sure love if by all accounts, Discovery is a pretty big hit. I see all these numbers that I don't understand, but saying it's outperforming The Walking Dead on demand. And so who knows? We might get a spinoff in a couple of years. And I would love the anthology type thing that Brian Fuller had originally talked about. And at this season, I would be okay with leaving Discovery behind us and giving us a new ship in the fleet. We don't have to change time periods, but heck, you guys have killed off most of the main cast. Hugh's dead, Lorca's dead, the security chief is dead, Ash is gone. So I'd be okay with moving on to a new time period or show. And I know that's not going to happen for Discovery, but a couple years from now, when this is still going great and we get a spinoff, that's something I would like to see.
It's interesting. We got a comment here on the Facebook chat. John Morales says, I don't think it was easy at all. I think they were very desperate looking at the destruction of all of Starfleet. Giorgio just gave them a way out of it. And I think about that Starfleet theoretically has had it pretty easy. Their charter is to be exploratory. They have these principles that maybe are easier to adhere to in a time of peace when you present yourself as an exploratory outfit than when you take people who have not been experienced with war, who have not been facing the eradication of not only everybody they know, but their planets, every system that they have built up around themselves. What are these desperate measures that they fall back on, even knowing that those are the wrong steps to take? So it takes a Michael Burnham to slap the sense back into them and say, no, we can't be as bad as the enemy that would defeat us. So, yeah, look, I get it, man. I think you make a great point, Cosmo. Also, I hope you enjoy the fish food.
It was fantastic.
Good. Okay. All right.
And about the finale, I thought the character beats were all fantastic. Like somebody brought up earlier, Tilly, that was the most I've liked Tilly all season. And Saru has really come into his own. So there were fantastic character moments. But I think, John, you said the mechanics of the episode, some of those didn't work for you. And I agree with that. A little bit anticlimactic, but the heart of the characters really made the episode worth it for me.
Yeah, I'm Tilly especially. It was great because sometimes, her comic timing was just fantastic in this episode. It was really she was a joy to watch all the way through. I mean, I think she's been one of the brightest points of the whole series as far as just character moments. But she was a tremendous amount of fun for this last episode. I'm glad she didn't just fade into the background. Yeah,
and I sure hope next season, now that so many people are dead, that we get some of the rest of that bridge crew to get some time to shine, because they seem interesting, and the one or two lines they've all had, I've liked them. I like our comms officer. He has a cool voice and a cool look, so I'm hoping we get to know them next season a little bit more.
I know that people will not like that I can't remember her name, but the cyborg on the bridge, who's just really cool looking. I would say Amar, something like that. I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm getting it wrong. But every time she moves, you hear that kind of whirring of mechanics, the sort of the servos or whatever. And I wonder if that happens all the time. Like if you're trying to go to sleep at night and you turn your head, does that wake you up? Because you hear your own gears turning. I don't know how. We need to have a whole sub story about her.
Michael's lucky she got Tilly as a roommate and not the android or the robot.
Yeah, that would keep you up all night. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for everything that you do. All the hours of mission log really make a stay-at-home dad's life go by a little bit quicker.
Thank you very much. I really thank you, Cosmo. I appreciate it. And give us a call back. Give us a call back beyond Discovery. Okay.
All right, guys.
Hey, we do have another caller coming up in just a moment, but before we do that, I want to remind you that there is another show coming up after this one. The good people over at Priority One, a Roddenberry Star Trek podcast, get together every Tuesday night, usually about 5 or 10 minutes after our show ends, to talk all things Star Trek. All things, you say? Well, yes, they do Star Trek news. They do some literary reviews, and they will also be talking over this week's episode of Discovery. So right after this show, point your browser to facebook.com/Priority One Podcast. Join Tony and Kenna and Elijah and whoever else they happen to have on this week. And have some fun with those guys. Facebook.com/Priority One Podcast.
All right. So we have 2 callers hanging on, and we're going to get to them really quickly. So Earl, we're going to talk to you next here. Earl Green. How are you, sir?
Just fine. How about you?
Good. We're doing all right.
I couldn't help but notice sort of there's sort of a reaction that happens right in the wake of an episode airing that is different from the more measured response that you get later. I noticed a lot of people saying, oh, the war wouldn't end that quick. And that reminded me a lot of Babylon 5 fandom in 1997 when they concluded, their first big war arc. The war wouldn't end that quick. Same thing. And I kind of noticed there were a lot of similarities in plot between the two shows. I mean, not knocking Discovery. I enjoyed it tremendously. But we start the season with Earthlings accidentally killing an alien leader, and then we have a sleeper agent who doesn't know that they're a sleeper agent among the crew, and several other things like that. I'm kind of hoping that season 2, we get a little bit further afield, whether we're doing story arcs or standalones, and do something a little bit more unique. I guess there were some ways that I felt like I'd seen this show before. And I'm not sure if anyone else picked up on that.
Well, I for one will admit I have not seen most of Babylon 5. I did watch Galactic. I know, getting the look. Look, I only have so much time, Earl. I did watch Galactica pretty religiously. And yes, I mean, I think no matter what, when you're doing sci-fi, there are going to be elements that are similar from one show to another, and part of that is the nature of storytelling on TV now versus storytelling on TV 30 or 50 years ago. But yeah, the Babylon 5 stuff, I've heard people talk about it in relation to Discovery. I, for one, would not pick up on it because I'm not familiar enough with that show.
What's funny though, Earl, is even though he's not seen much of Babylon 5, I'll bet you $5 he's got the Blu-ray DVD. Or the box set or something along those lines.
Would actually be right. Yes.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Earl, I actually want to try to hit your question next week because I think it's more of a like whole series thing. And the other thing is, and I hate to rush you, but we do also have somebody else who's trying to get on really quick. So I'm going to ask you if we can hit that question a bit more next week. And thank you very much for your call, sir. We do have, I don't have my glasses. Is it Phil? We have Phil waiting to talk to us.
It is Phil. Thank you very much, you handsome bearded devils, you. I've been listening to your show ever since TOS, and I just rewatched Metamorphosis because I really enjoyed the Shape of Water, and I saw some things in between that that seemed to be there. I want to say a couple of things about the way the show ended. I know there's been some backlash against why give this device to the Klingons and everything. The theory, I have two comments. One is blowing up the planet may not have done what they wanted to do. You have all these different, for lack of a better term, houses and gangs out there. They're still going to be dangerous. They're still going to be, you'll have to fight every single one of them at different times. Also, our crew has seen the other universe. The whole plan is from the other universe, and that's not true. And that's not going to build a tenable peace in the future. If the admiral weakened and said, "Well, maybe we should do this," it's only because she has seen more hell. When she says, "Oh, 20% of Starfleet is gone," that's probably a lie. It's probably 30 or 40%. Would they have the military power to take out all those different houses that will never stop fighting because their homeworld was destroyed? I don't think so.
Yeah,
anyway,
if you're talking about,
thank you for all the hours of entertainment and thought.
Thank you very much. I will say really quickly, if you're talking about a real world answer to that question, I'm reminded of the end of Dr. Strangelove. The whole point of a doomsday weapon is knowing that there might be a doomsday. I mean, once you actually push the button, then all bets are off. So yeah, I mean, it seems like a story device that was really just there to ratchet up the horror of what might have happened. I think. Does that make sense to you, John?
But I think,
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, I hate to do this, Phil, but we're right up against the top of the hour. Can you give us a call back next week, please?
I will be happy. This is the first time I just got on like the last 15 minutes of this show because I've been wanting to do it and I'm just forgetting it. But I will call next week.
Cool.
No, please do.
Back anytime, Phil. Yeah.
You're raising a bunch of really interesting questions that I personally would
and keep those beards, guys. You look really handsome. I tell you that.
You got it.
It's my ticket back to the alternate dad. I'm sorry, the mirror universe. Hey, I want to let everybody know Mission Log is produced by Roddenberry Entertainment. Or Mission Log Live even is produced by Roddenberry Entertainment. The executive producer, Roddenberry.
No idea what anyone's saying.
wandering around there somewhere. Technical production by for Mission Log Live by Infinity Networks, producer Brendan Bradley. Be sure to visit podcast.roddenberry.com for the latest from the Roddenberry Podcast Network, including not just Mission Log, but also Women at Warp, Priority One, and The Trek Files. We would again like to thank Eagle Moss and the official Star Trek Starships collection for sponsoring this show. Be sure to check out their fine wares, eaglemoss.com/discovery starships, and we will talk to you next week.